Hi, my name is Dora-Laskey, and welcome to my honors day presentation. I'd actually like to start this presentation off by posing a question. What? Do you want to buy drugs? Hey, stop. We talked about this. Stop asking people to buy your glasses. You said you weren't going to embarrass me. You said. My question is, what would you do? Do you want to buy drugs? Let me know in the virtual meeting after this video if you want to. If they're good, I swear. Okay, just play the clip and let's get started here, folks. You've got to stop doing that. You were going to throw up in the car again. Everyone loved the 60s. We had crushed evil once and for all. There was a growing middle class. Technological conveniences made home life easy, and if music was anything to go by, people were just in a good mood. Things had just been solved. It was all uphill from here. Life was just like one big party. Of course, every party has its downers, just those absolute sticks in the mud. I would never be a downer, of course, I just want to have fun. I hate politics. I think it's the opposite of having fun. In this case, among the downers in the 1960s were a group of artists and political theorists who called themselves the Situationist International. The Situationists were essentially troublemakers. They did all sorts of stunts to raise awareness about this idea that capitalism was slowly eroding us. They could best be described as libertarian socialists. Most importantly, the Situationists became concerned about this concept that they called the spectacle. The phenomena of the spectacle was most thoroughly described in the 1967 book Society of the Spectacle by Guy Debord. Debord describes the spectacle as the gradual domination of commodities over people. When you hear the word spectacle, you might instantly imagine Hollywood or the Kardashians. But Debord thought that the problem was both wider and deeper than that. Debord clarifies early on that, quote, "The spectacle is not a collection of images. It is a social relation between people that is mediated by images." Essentially, Debord and other situationists came to believe that humanity would soon no longer be actually having that party. We would be watching images of a party that the spectacle sells to us. And then when we did interact with people, we would have to interact with them through these images of a party that we've internalized.
Well, they say that a union would make things better.
Well, all I know is that I'd rather deal directly with everyone, like we're doing right now. A union could get in the way of that. And listen, if you have any other questions, just let me know and I'll try to help with them.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for talking to us.
No problem. Oh, that was something new. Well, I better get on the phone and let HR know about this.
As Debord puts it in the opening sentences of his book, in societies dominated by modern conditions of production, life is presented as an immense accumulation of spectacles. Everything that was directly lived has receded into representation. In this presentation, we'll cover what the spectacle is, how it manifests, and what you can do to fight against it. We'll talk about where it shows up, whether that's international politics or Alma College. And we can start by analyzing that man. Me? The agent of the spectacle who is put on stage as a star is the opposite of an individual. He is as clearly the enemy of his own individuality as of the individuality of others. Society of the Spectacle is based on Marxist analysis. Debord views the spectacle as both a consequence and enabler of capitalism that really began to come to force in the 1920s. Under the current capitalist system, the worker comes home from their job exhausted. With what little leisure time they have left before the next shift, they'll probably turn on the TV. Now, they'll probably be too exhausted for anything political, so they'll want something completely devoid of politics. Something like a television rerun of Marvel's Iron Man. The worker does this every day, so every day he sees different ads. On Monday, he might see an ad for Buy Pepsi. It's the official drink of badass sports players. Then on Tuesday, he might see an ad for Do you want to be unhealthy and die? If not, drink apple juice. Then on Wednesday, he might see an ad for Come on, live a little, drink lemonade. And then on Thursday, he might see an ad for Life feeling rough? Upgrade that lemonade to Sierra Mist. All those advertisers have their own goals, and so they may seem completely unrelated and completely unpolitical, but they're not. While all those commodities are different, the shared ideological conclusion of all those advertisers is that buying products under capitalism makes you happy. All of these companies produce political propaganda for capitalism in their own way. The worker then consumed political propaganda without realizing he was consuming anything political at all. Each individual commodity fights for itself, and that while each particular manifestation of the commodity eventually falls in battle, the general commodity form continues onward towards its absolute realization. So is there a secret capitalist conspiracy to put secret messages in all of our media? Not really. But if there's no capitalist conspiracy, then why is it that non-political media is so damn political, such as the Marvel movies? The Marvel movies have a political message. Tony Stark is a billionaire because he's smart, funny, charismatic, and badass. Luckily for us, he's also a very giving and humanitarian person. This is a result of the spectacle constantly reaffirming assumptions under capitalism. In real life, Bill Gates is a universally well-loved figure. That's despite the fact that he does very blatantly evil things in plain view. Like the commodity, Bill Gates is only trying to sell himself, but in the process of selling himself, he's also selling this idea of the benevolent billionaire. Those messages become internalized and reproduced in media such as the Iron Man character, which only serves to internalize these feelings in more people, and so the spectacle continues. When those feelings are internalized, consciously or unconsciously, it makes it easier for billionaires like Musk and Gates to make more money because they have less scrutiny on them, and thus they're able to spread more spectacle.
9:30 dinner.
Perfect. I'll be there at 11. Is this us?
Absolutely. It can be.
Great. Make it us.
Okay.
Mr. Musk, how are you?
Congratulations on the promotion.
Thank you very much. Thank
Hey.
you.
Those Merlin engines are fantastic.
Thank you. Yeah, good idea for an electric jet.
You do?
Yeah.
Then we'll make it work.
A union could get in the way of that. And listen, if you have any other questions, just let me know and I'll try to help with them.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for talking to us.
No problem. Oh, that was something new. Well, I better get on the phone and let
Mr. Musk.
her know about this.
A society dominated by the spectacle is increasingly less concerned about reality and more concerned about image.
Stop treating us like animals and thugs, and start treating us with some respect.
Consider for a second how this country has seen numerous examples of how unaccountable, racist, and dangerous police departments are. A healthy society might look at what's happening and decide to reallocate funds or restructure police departments. But a society that's dominated by the spectacle can't. Instead, what happens is a fight that is solely about images. Politics is treated just like the commodities were, with advertised positions being seemingly very different from each other, yet all still believing in and perpetuating the racist capitalist system. The end result is that normal people have political beliefs that are almost completely incoherent, bizarre, and distortions of reality. As a conservative, you know I don't trust big government. However, I think we should always take the government side when it kills someone or when it tear gasses protesters. I think police need more money. As a liberal, I sure do feel bad about all that murdering those police officers are doing. I think the real problem is that police officers need more money. In order to protect and perpetuate itself, the spectacle then engages in a process called recuperation. The spectacle takes radical ideas and then sells them back to us as images without making any real changes to the capitalist material base. You might get Black Lives Matter painted on a street. You might get memes and sell merchandise named after one of the victims. You can pose in kente cloth. You can select Black Lives Matter as an interest on your Tinder profile. You might even get a televised performance by rich people that gestures towards activism. You might get a trending hashtag that says Stop Asian Hate. You may get publications saying Stop Asian Hate and then go back to warmongering about China and Chinese people. Recuperation was the spectacle's way of hijacking reality and social justice in order to commodify it. The situationist answer to this was determinment, which was hijacking capitalism in order to make people question the reality being presented to them. The situationists made determinment iconic. As a result, they became notorious for the situationist prank. My personal favorite situationist prank was what would later be known as the Strasbourg scandal. In this case, situationists infiltrated the University of Strasbourg Student Union in order to demonstrate what they saw as the utter incompetence of the university as a whole. What ensued over the next year was a series of increasingly grander and grander pranks. This all culminated in what was supposed to be the university's opening ceremony for the beginning of the year. During the ceremony, situationists published 10,000 copies of a pamphlet called On the Poverty of Student Life. This pamphlet brutally criticized the University of Strasbourg, as well as university living for the student under capitalism as a whole. The international outcry to this was immediate, and all situationist students were expelled, and the student union was closed under a court order. Oh, and these 10,000 pamphlets, they were printed using the university's own budget. Let's see, commodities, Elon Musk, Tony Stark, and transition to Alma College sign. After protests against racist police violence this summer, numerous complaints were publicly directed at Alma College from students of color. Students of color accuse Alma College staff of being racist towards them, and they also accuse the college of being hesitant to address this behavior. In response, Alma College promised to hire professionals that would do an audit of how welcoming and supportive the college was towards marginalized students. In January 2021, these auditors then released their list of recommendations for the school moving forward. If these auditors were to strongly recommend that Alma College take a harsher stance against racist staff and faculty, that would embarrass Alma College. Other colleges may look at this audit report and decide not to hire these same auditors for fear of being put in a similarly embarrassing position. There's nothing concrete or substantial in this audit that would make it easier for a student of color to come forward about racist abuse from staff or faculty. There is, however, a reoccurring focus on images. Again, this isn't to say that these changes are automatically bad, or that students won't actually feel better as a result of these changes. But the focus on image over actual concrete ways to get justice is another example of how the capitalist mode of production incentivizes a spectacle to kind of take over, constantly putting new coats of paint on the old machine.
Overwhelmingly positive responses. Overwhelmingly positive responses.
The majority of my actual senior thesis was about shows like Nathan For You and The Eric Andre Show. I believe these shows use determinment to hijack capitalist institutions, whether that be the business show or the press circuits that celebrities do. In the process, they kind of showcase how empty and meaningless capitalism and the spectacle really is. This year was tough for all of us. I've personally had the worst time of my damn life. Luckily, I had really supportive friends and faculty that helped me through it the whole way, including Dr. Gorton, the advisor for this thesis. We have to fight the spectacle so we can fight for each other. So keep fighting, Alma College. You sent this video in, right? To the provost? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, of course. Huh? I'm not saying that. You're saying good.